This is a video trip report for the middle fork of the Salmon River at 3.4 feet. It was 3.4 the first day and then just slowly dropped. And this is just something I do where I share video from a trip I've done and some commentary. And hopefully you like the commentary. If you don't, I'm sorry. You can turn it off, turn the volume off if you want, or just, I don't know, not even watch it. So the first rapid in the video I have is Sulfur Slide. This is one that had a massive landslide in August 2023. It's the first time I'd seen the new version. This is the new 2024 version. It'll probably keep changing for years. And you can see that massive landslide on the right. This rapid used to be pretty challenging. I mean, definitely 3+. Now it's pretty straightforward. All the river is just pushed over. It's channelized down. There is some wood on the left side to kind of just pay attention to. It is potentially dangerous. And then the maneuver from this upper part of Sulfur Slide to the lower part, it used to be really challenging, especially at low water, and it seems like it might be easier now. I mean, I'm not totally sure, but at this point, I have to work pretty hard to get right for lower Sulfur Slide, and now it seems like it's pretty nice. So we'll see what happens, and I would call this, although this has seemed like one long rapid, right here, this is what I would normally call a lower Sulfur Slide. And right here is generally that hard move from left to right to avoid those rocks on the left over there. At this flow, again, it's usually pretty easy, but as the water drops, it looks like that maneuver is going to be a little bit easier. Coming up next is another rapid. This one changed in 2022. You can see that big sediment deposit on the left. We just went past where Ramshorn used to be. This is the new Ramshorn. It's easier. It's pretty straightforward at this level. There were some sharp rocks here last year, and I heard of a few boats getting cut at lower water, so we'll see what happens. Maybe it's better now. But as you can see, this new Ramshorn is pretty straightforward. Here I just finished scouting Hell's Half Mile. There was a blowout in August 2023 on the right side. You'll see that whole debris flow on the right side covered up where you normally might go and force the whole river through this left side, which is pretty straightforward at this flow. It's not completely easy, but you could end up down a right channel down there that sends you into some logs. And you wouldn't want to fall out here. You wouldn't want to have somebody fall out and swim this. Partially because it's a long swim, and partially because there is some wood down there, and the rocks are sharp. It's a new rapid. At this level, you can see it's pretty easy to get left using, I just turned my boat and pulled over to the left a little bit. Some boats this spring did go right. You can see there's a right side over there. That does lead into some wood. There is a channel down there, but you really want to get left. And again, at this level, wasn't too terribly hard. And this is sort of, at this point, it's changed a little bit like the old Hell's Half Mile. Just fun, nice maneuvering, ending in kind of a little bit of a hole thing at the bottom. This here is the little kind of hole thing at the bottom. A higher water, it's something special, but this flow, it's pretty straightforward. And our paddle boat is to my left right now. We walked our people around this because we were worried about the wood. So our paddle boat had just gathered the people, and we're heading down. And here's another new rapid that was formed in 2023. This is the new Velvet Falls. Velvet Creek blew out from the right side, brought tons of sediment in where you would normally go, and now the river's going left of this big rock that's barely out right now. The rock is right behind that piece of wood that we used to go to the right of. Whole new rapid. It's a rapid, and definitely we're scouting. I scouted it from the left already. Some of our group are scouting from the right now. It's fairly straightforward at this level. Of course, it's going to keep changing as the summer goes on, and it's going to keep changing year to year as sediment moves around. So another kind of new exciting rapid. The next decent sized rapid is the Chutes. This one didn't change at all. It's a classic. I love this rapid. It's really hard at low water. At this level, it's just pretty straightforward, dodging over some, not over some, all over rocks too, but around rocks, next to rocks, there's some holes. It's not super difficult, but it's definitely a rapid worth paying attention to. That rock to my left, it's out of frame right now, but the rock I'm passing right now is probably the biggest hazard. You can get really stuck or wrapped on it, but at this level, pretty easy to miss, and now it's just a fun time floating down through the rest of the rapid. The next rapids of consequence after the chutes are the Powerhouse rapids. There's an upper, a middle, and a lower. I'm not going to share the lower because it's pretty straightforward at this level, but the upper and the middle are super fun. This is the entrance to the upper, which is a little tricky. You got to kind of pick your way down. You got to find a spot. There's multiple ways to begin here, but you just got to kind of find yours and go with it. And it's pretty easy to get perched here, so if you're struggling a little bit, it's nice to have a little bit of spacing in case somebody gets stuck, but you definitely don't want to get too much spacing where you can't help each other out, of course. But yeah, this is just a good time, fun rapid, things to miss, and pay attention. Middle Powerhouse here is just a good time. There's a couple tricky spots. This top part gets a little bit technical. At this flow, not too bad, but there's a couple rocks you want to miss and pay attention to. And then there's a few places on this whole section where you could get stuck, or just have a little bit of a problem with rocks. And so I would say this is the more difficult part of the Powerhouses. Place you want to kind of be on your toes and just be paying attention to missing things. Right here, I'd say is the crux move at the top, so that you don't go over some rocks here. You can see some shallow rocks on the left and just things you could run into, but again, not a huge deal. Oh, those logs are a big deal. Definitely don't want to go into those logs. The bottom of Middle Powerhouse is probably the trickiest part of the whole thing. It looks pretty innocuous, but that wall down there that's on River Right is a place people generally slam their boats into. So you can see I'm trying to get left. I'm building right to left momentum right now. So I'm on the right side. I'm thinking about how do I get momentum to the right. So I'll be pulling my way over a little bit. And if I do hit the wall down there, I want to hit it with my bow. I don't want to hit it sideways because you could maybe flip on it. I'm not sure that's possible, but maybe it's possible. Who knows? But you just scrape your bow, you hit your oars, and so I'm pulling to build momentum to the left, but also just get left. And it's deceiving. It's a lot harder than it looks. People generally underestimate how hard it is to miss this wall. And let's see if I even hit it. I can't remember if I hit it. Yeah, I come close. And it's also a great place to fish. You can see all the driplets that they're fishing. There's a great fishing hole here. The next real rapid consequence below the Powerhouse Rapids is Pistol. My GoPro battery died as I was going into Pistol, so I don't have that video. It's worth scouting. I would say if you don't know the river that well or you don't know the flow, it's not a hard scout. It's a fun scout. I'd recommend scouting Pistol. And there's multiple lines. At this level, you can enter the right, which makes it easier. When the water drops, you have to go left in the entrance. But we went right, kind of dodged through a hole, which was straightforward, pretty straightforward. The next rapids coming up, the ones here, are the Taeping rapids. There's a few rapids in between, of course, like Marble and some other stuff. But these are the next kind of real rapids, the Taepings. And the first one here is Taeping 1. This is a good warm-up for what's to come. At this level, it's pretty wide open. There's a rock wall or rock down there on the right that could cause problems. So your whole goal here is just to get left. And you can see I'm being really conservative. I'm just pulling my way. I'm ferrying over to the left just to make sure there's no chance to go near it. And yeah, just a fun little wave train as we head into the next ones. And coming up next is Taeping Falls. You can see Taeping 1 ends, and there's a little bit of slack water before Taeping Falls. And I would recommend scouting this if you don't know it. You can scout right or left, either way. I think left maybe is easier, right you get a better view. But you just plow into that hole right here. There's a hole to the left that will hold your boat. You don't want to go center here. You want to go over on the right. Again, if you don't know it, it's worth scouting. There's going to be a big wave hole thing you saw me go through. It's pretty straightforward. But being in the right place is key because that hole in the center of that rapid is notorious. And there's a little hole here and some rocks kind of underwater there. I'm just pulling away from to be conservative in Taeping Falls to set safety for the next group. And now we're headed down to Taeping 2. This used to be a formidable rapid. It was definitely an exciting rapid. Cove Creek downstream blew out, created a little bit of a lake that covered the bottom half of this rapid. Now, as you see, it's pretty straightforward. There's a rock right there in front of me that you don't want to mess with. It all flows, so I just avoid it completely. It could cause some problems, and you kind of see it kind of peters out into this little lake. So not a big rapid, but the memories of it are distinct. I've had a lot of exciting times getting sweep boats through here in the past. This was definitely a difficult sweep boat rapid at lower flows, but now it kind of ends in this lake. And what happened was there's a creek down here, Cove Creek, that flooded maybe like 10 years ago and created a new rapid we now call Cove Creek Rapid. So there's this little lake ahead of us right here. You can see him kind of plowing through the lake before we get to Cove Creek. And at this level, sometimes you go left, sometimes you go center. I'm not sure where to go. There's also a private boat pinned on the left. And I thought about maybe pulling over, but we had so many boats behind us that we really didn't have a good spot to pull over, and they're pretty stable. I felt like I could have got around them. I felt like I could get around them pretty easy. But the decision was to go, I'm going left, but you could also go center, you can see. They both go. I like left here because I can now go from left to right and just miss this pin boat easily. And they ended up getting off. It wasn't a big deal. But something I did consider stopping above, it's just we had so many boats and duckies to get them to the shore, and there wasn't really enough of an eddy there. And here I am setting safety below it. So next rapid of consequence is Haystack. At this level, again, pretty straightforward, pretty open rapid. There's a left line you can see over there. I'm going to do the center line. There's also a right line. There's a lot of options here in Haystack. This is another rapid that used to be harder. Bernard Creek, which we'll see that rapid in a second, blew out, I feel like mid-2000s, I don't know, 2007, 2008, somewhere around there, blew out and dammed up the bottom of Haystack. This used to be a classically hard rapid. People have died in this rapid, which is still possible, of course. It's still a formidable rapid, but this was definitely a historically famous rapid. And it went past these two rocks. You can see those two rocks right there. It used to go down below her, but now there's a little bit of a lake here, a tiny bit of a lake. You can see now I'm just ending in flat water. And that next rapid is Bernard. And river left blew out. And this is all a new rapid that formed, I don't know when it formed, maybe like 10, 15 years ago. Again, pretty straightforward. Low water, this rapid is pretty tricky, but at this level, this 3-4 level, all these rapids are just wide open and beautiful, and just a good time. A couple miles downstream of Bernard is Earthquake Rock and the Jack Creek Rapids. This is a sweet little rapid. There's a rock that fell in the middle of the river. You can't see it quite yet. In an earthquake in 1983. I like to drive left. That's the move I like. I think it's just fits my style. A lot of people go right of this rock. You can see the rock right there right now. At lower water, harder to miss. At this flow, pretty wide open. And below there are the Jack Creek Rapids, which are just fun wave trains. And now we're getting into Waterfall Creek Rapid, a bit further downstream. At this level, pretty straightforward. You generally just want to get right. It's not a big deal. This is another one of those rapids where at lower flows, super tricky. At this level, these mid-threes is just dreamy, super easy, but also fun. Like fun waves, fun things to do, but pretty low consequence, pretty straightforward. After Waterfall Creek, we pass Big Creek on the left, the biggest tributary. The river flow gets bigger. You can see the river flow. You might be able to see this is bigger waves. And this is Cutthroat Cove. Again, at this level, pretty straightforward, pretty dreamy. And there's sometimes good kayak surf waves in here, so worth checking out if you're a kayaker. Big Pine is just a class 2 fun one. I don't usually include class 2s, but I've never videoed this one. I thought I would include it just because it's a rapid that I really enjoy. You can run a left bend and sort of a little surprise. And you can see the drift boat, the fishing drift boat downstream. The next rapids of consequence below there are the Cliffside Rapids. This is Upper Cliffside. If you go left, you do risk getting slammed against the wall. I always try to go pretty hard right when I can. At these levels, you can see I'm like almost on the shore right, because you can just kind of come in slowly, use the eddy a little bit to not hit the wall. If you go left, you can certainly go that way. It's just you're more likely to slam into this wall. It's Cliffside Rapid. It's next to this cliff, and people generally get shredded down this cliff, whether they're in duckies or rafts. You can see I'm really far right, and then I use this eddy to kind of slow down and just try to avoid the wall completely. I'm just trying to use the slack water. And if you come down screaming down that fast water, it's hard to control the boat, and you could bounce up against the wall, which is probably fine. You might slam an oar or something, not a big deal. In a ducky though, slamming against that wall, super not fun. Great rapid, super fun, pretty straightforward at this level. And then just below here is Lower Cliffside. And I love this rapid. It can catch you off guard. You can see I'm working hard to get to the left. You really want to enter left. You could enter center. There's just some holes and things you mess with. I like to enter pretty far left here. And it's just a nice little whoop-de-doo down the left side. Now we're headed into the last day rapids. This little entrance thing is called Son of Rubber. Again, at this level, pretty straightforward. But Rubber packs a punch. Here we're headed into Rubber now. It's got some pretty big waves. It definitely packs a punch. And so you want to hit these things straight as you can. I like to be a little bit right, but there's a lot of things you could do. But really fun, nice level for Rubber. Next up is Hancock. This is the most underrated rapid on the river. I love this rapid. I would maybe say it's my favorite rapid, and I love rapids like Velvet and Pistol and all of them. But this one's long. It's just good, clean fun. And I do kind of forget about it sometimes. Maybe it needs a cooler name. Hancock is maybe kind of a boring name. But yeah, one of my favorite rapids on the river, and just a good time. At this point in Hancock, I'm trying to kind of get left. There's some at lower water, some shallow rocks, or there's a wall on the right. So I'm just thinking, how do I get left? Not super hard, but it's in my mind. Like, I just want to be kind of away from that wall over there. This lower canyon is really fun with kind of back-to-back rapids. We're heading into Devil's Tooth. The tooth is underwater. So again, like a lot of these rapids at these mid-3 levels, pretty straightforward coming through Devil's Tooth. Not a huge deal. We just went right over the Devil's Tooth. This probably has a foot of water over it. But you could get messed up. That rock I went near, you could, if you went on that, I guess you could get messed up. Next up is House of Rocks. There are multiple lines. There's a sieve on the right, so I don't like going middle. It kind of exposes you to the sieve. I like getting pretty far left, and I'm going to use a downstream ferry here. There's a little bit of a angled eddy line I want to cross, and it makes this super easy if I just do a little bit of a downstream. See, I broke that little eddy line there, kind of caught in the eddy, and I'm on the left side now. I got too far left. You can see it's really driving me left, so I have to pull back to get right. But I like this left side. It's fun to downstream ferry into it, and it's pretty conservative. You definitely not near some of the weird rocks and the sieve that's on the right. Now we're at Clamshell Rock. Sometimes in this entrance right here, there's a killer kayak surf wave. It's just a really cool rock. This is not a hard move. I just really like it. It's a cool rock. I should have videoed back up into it because it looks like a clamshell. It's a really cool spot that I just want to take a second and add this little bit of video into, or into add that little bit of video into this. This jump off at this level, wave train, no big deal. There is a weird civvy thing on the left down here, but it's covered, so it's not something I'm worried about. You can kind of see where it is right now. It's covered up, not a big deal. But low flows, I'm definitely nervous in this rapid, especially with duckies, because there is a place you could get in some trouble there on the left. And then now we're in the main salmon. This is Kramer. This one formed, I think, in 2003 when Kramer Creek on the right flooded. It used to be like 6 feet higher. I don't know, a lot higher, a lot harder. Still pretty big, but the first few years after it happened, it was a very big rapid. And we're on the main salmon, so the flow is like doubled, and it's just fun wave trains. There's a couple places you can get in trouble, so being in the right spot is important. But yeah, that's the last rapid on the trip. Thanks for watching. As always, please like, subscribe, and if you have comments about anything, put them in the comments section, and we'll see you next time.